Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We're going to do a little circle geometry review before we dive into 10.1. Okay. And so just a few vocabulary review and area and circumference review. So first of all, a circle, the definition is a set of all points in a plane that are the same distance from a fixed point, and that fixed point is called the center. Okay. So it's a set of all points. If we rotate around that center, all of these points is equal distance away from it is the circle. That equal distance is the radius, okay, is a certain distance away from that center. We measured a circle in degrees, so it's a certain rotation around that center point, okay? A radius is a segment connecting the center of the circle to any point on the circle, all right? A chord right here, so notice the difference between a chord, a secant, and a tangent. A chord is a segment, a secant and tangent are a line, okay? A chord is a segment, and the endpoints of that segment lie on the circle. A diameter is actually also a chord. It just happens to be a special chord because the diameter passes through the center. Okay, so it's a special chord because it passes through the center. A secant is a line, and the difference between a tangent and a secant is a secant passes through the circle twice, and a tangent only passes through the circle one time. So it just touches the circle. Okay. So those are all the different kind of circle vocabulary we're going to be talking about over the course of the next little bit in our unit 10. All right. Next, we're going to get into our circumference, and you guys have seen these formulas before, so we're not going to, derive them or hash over them a whole lot. Our circumference divided by diameter equals this funny number called pi, and that's 3.14159, yada, yada, yada. You've seen it before. So if I multiply both sides by diameter, I end up getting this formula for my circumference, which equals pi times diameter. Okay, that's one of my formulas for circumference. And since diameter is 2 times my radius, that's how I get my circumference equals 2 pi r. So that 2r, 2 times my radius, substitutes in for diameter. Any one of those work. It just depends on the information you're given in your problem. Okay, my area of my circle is this formula here. My area equals pi r squared. And how I keep those in my head when I was younger was, r squared is like, area. Whenever you're calculating area, you end up with feet squared, square feet, square inches, square yards. And so that's a square, r squared. And so that's how I remember that was area. Okay. Okay, so we're asked here to find the circumference and area of this circle. And so we're going to start with my circumference. Now, this is how I want you to show all of your work. Okay, no questions asked. I'm going to write down my formula first. Circumference equals 2 pi r, and I'm using 2 pi r because I'm given the radius, okay? And then I'm going to substitute my radius in for my r. So 2 pi times 21 feet. And that's going to be equal to 42 pi feet, okay? And I want you to notice something. That this is an exact answer, okay? And you'll notice that sometimes it's going to ask you for an exact answer. And that's what it means. You're not going to multiply pi out. This is also sometimes referred to leaving your answers in terms of pi. Okay? So you're going to leave it in terms of pi. And so you're not going to multiply it out. That's an exact answer. Now, if you're asked to approximate your answer, then that's when you're going to go ahead and multiply that out by pi. So we're going to take our 42 and we're going to multiply that by pi. And then we're going to usually round to the nearest tenth. So it's going to be 131.9. Okay, so we'll have circumference is approximately equal to 131.9 feet. Okay, and that's my approximation. So depending on what they're asking you to do, we either give them the approximation or the exact answer. Okay, now to find our area, we're just going to take our area equals pi r squared. Write the formula down. Area equals pi times, and we got 21 feet squared. And then I'm going to find out what 21 is squared. It's 441. So my area equals 441 pi feet squared. Usually we're going to leave this in terms of pi, but sometimes we're going to find the approximation, the exact answer. So pay attention to what's asked. Okay. Okay, next up, we want to find the circumference and area of this circle. So notice this time we're given the diameter. Okay, so this time, instead of using our 2 pi r, we're going to use circumference equals pi times diameter. And so circumference equals pi times 12 meters. So circumference is just going to be 12 pi meters. That's my exact answer. If I want an approximation, I would say 12 times pi, and that's about 37.7, right? So circumference would be approximately equal to 37.7. Now you don't always have to give both answers like this. You're gonna figure out what are they asking you. Do you want an exact answer? Do they want it in terms of pi, and so forth? Okay. So to find the area here is pi r squared. So area is going to be equal to pi times r squared is going to be 6, right? So my radius is actually 6 from here, okay? So pi is 6 meters squared. So my area is going to be equal to 36 pi meters squared. And there's my area, okay? Okay, now we'll find the radius of the circle that has a circumference. So now we actually have the circumference, and we're going to go backwards. So we know that circumference equals, and since we have a radius, it's going to be 2 pi r. Now this time we're going to be plugging in for circumference right here, right? 26 meters equals 2 pi r. And this time I'm going to have to actually divide by pi in order to find my radius, okay? So I have to take my 26, divide it by, and I have to put it in some parentheses to get my 2 times pi. There, divide it by the whole thing. It's about 3.7. So 3.7 is approximately equal to my radius. Okay, and that's it. All right. Find the diameter of a circle with an area of 113.10. So I know that my area is pi r squared. So if I plug in my area right here is 113. Oh, I always do that. Too many ones. 113.1 yards squared. That's going to be equal to pi r squared. So now if I just divide by pi, so I take my here and go 113.1. Whoops, 0.1 I said. And I'm going to divide that by pi. That's going to give me 36. 36 yards squared, that's a nice even number, equals radius squared. And now when I take the square root, I have my radius equals 6 yards. Right here, okay? The radius in that case could also equal -6, but since we're in geometry, we don't have negative length. So that's why we only take the positive solution to that, okay? So here's the next one. Find the area of a circle with a circumference of 32 feet. So now I have in order to find area, if my area is equal to pi r squared, I need to know the radius. So if I use my circumference equals 2 pi r, I can find my radius to find my area, okay? So I'm going to plug in my 32 pi feet equals 2 pi r. So I'm going to divide by 2 pi, divide by my 2 pi. That should give me 16 equals my radius. Then I can take this and plug it in up here. So area equals pi times 16 squared. Let's go and find out what 16 squared is. Whoops, not 13, 16. Not 6. 16 squared is 256. So area is equal to 256 pi. Okay, and there you go. All right. I think this is the last one. So find the circumference of a circle with an area of 321. So we know what our area is, pi r squared. So we're going to plug in 321. Here is pi r squared. Divide by pi. Again, we'll take our 321. Whoops, clear that up. Clear 321 divided by pi. I think it's 101.2 or 102.1. So we got 102.1 is equal to r squared. And now in order to find the radius, I will square root both sides. So the square root my answer here. And that gives me about 10.1. So my radius is equal to about 10.1. So now I can find the circumference. The circumference is equal to 2 pi r. And 10.1. So circumference is equal to 20.2 pi. Bada boom, bada bang. Okay? All right. So you have a worksheet on circles and read circles review in Google Classroom. You make sure you show all your work. I want to see all the formulas, all the substitutions in there. And then I will see you guys in Classroom. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.